But first, our elderly are being conned out of their money, and we've discovered the problem is getting worse.
My name is Leslie Crompton. I'm a Trading Standards Officer with Suffolk County Council Trading Standards. What I'm working on at the moment is a scams project. We're visiting consumers in their homes to give them advice and guidance on how to avoid being scammed. It's particularly prevalent as we have so many older and more vulnerable consumers in Suffolk. We need to help them. It's a massive problem countrywide. Hello, Mr. Pearce. Leslie from Trading Standards. Nice to see you.
Pleased to meet you.
Leslie has come to see 67-year-old John Pearce, who lives in Lowestoft. Over the last few years, he's spent thousands of pounds responding to scam mail. These plastic bags contain just a few weeks' worth.
Catalogues, letters. Important reminder, grand winner, £43,000.
If they tell you that you've won a lot of money, well...
Do you believe them?
Well, I always do believe them.
And have you won any money?
I haven't won a penny yet. Well, that's a lie, really. I won 96p, I think it was.
96 pence?
96 pence I won. Marvellous, isn't it?
You can take me out for dinner. This is the sort of thing we're talking about when we refer to scam mail. It's designed to make you excited to receive the letter. Cash award recipient confirmed, cash approved, confirmation, payment due to you now. And the only thing you have to do is you need to order a significant amount of product from our little catalogue full of essential items that you can't live without. Then you'll get entered into the prize draw.
So what are the chances of winning big money in the prize draw? Well, according to Leslie, pretty much non-existent. Trading Standards say they're struggling to cope with the sheer scale of the problem. Research shows the typical victim is aged around 74, lives alone, and is losing an average of £4,500 to these type of scams.
Oh, I've seen these before.
Scam victims like John often end up buying products they don't need just so they can be entered into the prize draw. John has bought loads of medicinal creams and supplements that he's never used. Leslie is worried they may even be unsafe.
I don't know what these are.
Oh, my life. So you've got a stash of these in the garage?
Oh, I've got loads of stuff everywhere.
Will you let me take it all away for you?
Well,
Because you can't use it if you don't know what's in it and you don't know if it's going to do you any good, especially with your health conditions. This says it's a dietary supplement with devil's claw and boswellia.
Yeah, what's devil's claw?
And do you even know if you can take it with your medical condition?
No.
But you just felt you had to buy it?
Well, I just felt that might come in handy.
John is far from alone. The fear is that scams are now reaching epidemic proportions, and the cost is estimated at a staggering £3.5 billion a year.
Internal lists come out, and people will phone, lonely, elderly, slightly confused.
This conference in Ipswich is trying to raise awareness of scamming and to see what can be done to stop it.
Personal data has now got value. So if you've got lists of people's names, you can sell those. And of course, if you've got lists of vulnerable people, that's even worth more. And people trade on the dark internet what we call suckers lists. It's a horrible term, but it's how criminals refer to these people. They refer to them as suckers, people that they can go to and target to take money off.
I kind of get the impression that it's something that is almost a crime that is going on behind closed doors. We don't know just how widespread it is.
Oh, for all sorts of reasons. Lots of people that are victims of this sort of crime are just so embarrassed. They're so embarrassed that they were done or conned or whatever. They don't tell anybody. But I think we're beginning to realise that there's a whole other group of people out there who are very, very lonely older people who are so isolated from community that none of us even know they exist.
To try to combat the problem of scams, a national scam team was set up in 2012. Using information from the sucker list, they tell local trading standards teams who's at risk of being conned. But Inside Out has discovered that while the names of more than 80,000 people have been passed on, only a fraction of those have been visited by trading standards officers. Suffolk Trading Standards have been working with the National Scams team since 2014. Suffolk Trading Standards has had 1,507 people referred to you, and you've only managed to get to 132. That's less than 10%. That's not very impressive, is it?
It might not be impressive, but actually the work behind it is impressive. We contacted every single person in writing to give them the opportunity to make contact.
So you contacted everybody, 1,507 people?
Yes, in writing. We followed up with phone calls where there was a phone number attached to the report. The 132 visits were where we made definite contact and the individual wanted or gave permission for us to visit. We also did about nearly 200 telephone referrals as well, where we spoke to those individuals. Unfortunately, a lot of people had died. A lot of people had moved away and a large proportion had moved into care. We could do far more if we had more resourcing. Our department is very effective at what it does. I see us as being very small but very impactful. But as with everything these days, unfortunately, budgets rule the roost. Those decisions have to be made. Hello, Ms Mackenzie. Leslie from Trading Standards. Lovely.
Our research has revealed Suffolk is not alone in struggling to deal with the numbers of people needing support. Across the country, there's been a 56% reduction in the number of trading standard officers over the last 7 years.
Do you have any posts that's arrived recently that we can have a look at?
Yes, there's this one here.
89-year-old Jill Mackenzie from Martlesham had been the victim of scam mail for several years.
You've got £15,500 ready and waiting.
Well, it's not.
How do you know? What's your take on it?
Because they've told me it was ready and waiting, and I said, well, can I have it, please? And I never heard another word.
Does it occur to you that behind these salespeople and these glossy brochures and letters, that there is actually serious organised crime? There are gangs setting up.
Well, it certainly would worry me very much. I mean, I'm a fairly trusting person, and I've always thought that, you know, people write and say, we're offering you this.
You think it's genuine?
And it comes. I think it's genuine.
Yeah.
And I thought this was just another company trying to make its money.
Yes.
And then you came along and told me that it was a lot of rubbish, and since then I've been tearing them up.
While Jill has stopped responding to scam mail, Leslie is hoping that John Pearce will also stop wasting his money.
As far as consumers are concerned, we're saying don't be ashamed, don't feel silly. You've been taken in by con men who write material and send it to you, and that material is designed to get you to part with your money. It happens to all sorts of people, all ages, all demographics, rich people and less well-off people. So
They're paid good cash for that.
because you've definitely won.
Yeah.
What is that?
John's home is full of boxes of things he's paid for in the hope of winning a big prize. Most of those boxes have never even been opened.
And you need all this, do you?
Well,
You don't, do you?
Leslie will be working with John to try to make sure he doesn't lose any more of his money.
I'm angry on Mr. Pearce's behalf that he's been taken in by companies selling overpriced, potentially unsafe products to somebody who thinks they're in with a chance of winning a significant prize.
I believe that you can't have wicked people like that in business that are going to say that you've won and that you haven't won and you're not likely to win, because there's no draw, there's no nothing, and it's one big con. I wish they would tell me that, because it could have saved me a lot of money.